Hi guys, I am Christina Heideck of PTO Answers, and today we are going to be talking about how to organize all the PTO things because it is a new year. And I don't know about you, but over winter break, I noticed that like all of my PTA information was kind of a hot mess. And it's mostly because I haven't been getting out to in-person meetings. I haven't been having to drag it all with me. And so I didn't really realize what a hot mess it was. And so I thought other people might be in the same position. So today we're going to talk about how to get it all in order so that you have this one part of your life all buttoned up, neat, and ready to go and help like serve you so that you can be a more effective leader. So I just want to talk about like why it's important to organize your stuff, even your PTO stuff. So I find that but if I don't have things organized, I'm spending a lot of time looking for information that I know I have, but I just can't put my fingers on it, right? So it takes a little bit longer to find that one volunteer's email address that you wrote it down because she typed it into the chat, during the last Zoom meeting that you guys had, but you can't find her email address. So you're like searching everywhere for it. Well, if you had a system where you noted all that kind of information in one place, it'd be really easy. You could just flop open your binder, flip to that section, and find it right then and there, right? So it really saves you a lot of time. And it also shows you kind of like what you should be doing if you have the right kind of setup, that is. If you just have any old kind of binder, then it's really not gonna help you. So we're gonna go through the different kinds of organizational methods that I've used, that I know I've seen other people use throughout the year. And we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages, and I'm going to show you really how to set up an effective system that I think you're going to really absolutely love because it works for a lot of leaders. So first, I think like the simplest way that you might be getting information handed to you, and I should back up and say, just because you were given information in a certain way doesn't mean that it needs to stay that way. You were more than like able to set up a system so that you can more effectively do your job. Just because the previous volunteer did not take the time to do it doesn't mean that you're prohibited from doing it. And I know that I'm ruthless about going through papers and getting rid of things, and because I feel like I know what I'm doing. So I think if you're like new to the scene and you don't know what's important and you don't really have that history, then you're going to be maybe less confident and a little more cautious about getting rid of things. But I will tell you, it is not helpful to hang on to every single piece of paper that your PTO generates or that might be handed to you. And so if you are not if you fall into that camp where you're newer and you're not exactly sure what you should be keeping, I'm going to tell you about a system, how to set that up. I think either next week or the next. So that part is coming up, but today we're just going to talk about the overall systems that I think you should be using. So have you ever just been handed a folder with just like a little bit of information in it? Like maybe it's one of the old school, like just school folders with the butterfly clips. Yeah, I've been given this kind of a thing. And this is cool if you only have like this folder. This is actually one I set up because there was no information for this particular role, which is kind of sad because it's for staff appreciation for the middle school, or junior high rather. And there's really not that much information because, well, this group kind of has been a mess, and they've had a lot of leadership changes over the last decade, of course, but one group decided to take all the information with them, and I swear they burned it or something. So anyway, there's not that much historical information to pass along for the staff appreciation role for this group. So for this folder, I think it's kind of crappy, but it was something, and I think this was before I didn't have any extra binders. I have a whole bunch of binders, so maybe I'll set one up for this position so that whoever takes this role on next can have it. So that's one way, not a great way because it's kind of cumbersome to like be opening things up and putting them in the butterfly clip. Don't recommend it. The next system, like I said, you might want to get like a binder. So you're like, all right, I'm going to get a trapper keeper and I'm going to put everything in this trapper keeper. All right, I have an example here because this is one I was actually given. And I've already unzipped it, so we don't have that cool here. Oh, well, it's so old, it doesn't zip readily. Okay, so they put everything in here. In the pockets, there's stuff in the pockets. It's kind of like all falling out. There are a lot of tabs. There are a lot of tabs with lots of different information. And one is even entitled MISC. You should never, ever, ever have a category named MISC because that's just dumb. That means nothing. You might as well have no label on it. That's like, you know, one of those cute organizing baskets that just has the word stuff on it. That's just lame. Avoid that. That's so whatever. That's a hill I'm going to die on for that campaign because that's dumb. Same thing. Don't have a divider with labeled MISC. That is stupid because I have no idea what that means. That might have meant something to the person who had this binder. And let me tell you, this binder is chock full of information that is super old, like really old. Like the name of the event, Celebrations, we don't even use that event name anymore, and we haven't for years. So this is a better system than the file folder, but it lacks something because it's really hard to find things because the dividers, first of all, are not all the same. This is really hard to demonstrate. Maybe I'll flip it this way. Do you see how things are hidden? So you have to kind of open it up to see, oh, there's a whole nother set of dividers that are kind of jammed in there because they're not from the same set. So this is a case where a $5 fix really would have gone a long way. You could have just bought, and maybe I'll still set this up for the next person, bought a set of dividers and redone them without MISC and in like a better order. But you might also notice that this guy is really full. And so this is right for going through. As I flip through, there is information. Let's see how far back this goes. I see 2015, all right? So it's 6 years, that's not that bad. I'm sure there's more. It's really hard to see the years. Yeah, so 2012, is that what I see on that? 2013. All right, so I bet this goes back at least a decade, which is great, but not exactly useful because like I said, so much of this event has changed. So good for reference, but not like you don't want to be hauling this bad boy to meetings or anything. So this is the next system, but not that great. All right. And this is just another one. I pulled out all of my PTO binders, all of them, because I have so many roles that it's easy to have a lot of binders. All right, so then here is the system I do recommend. All right, you want to have nice bright colors because PTO stuff deserves to make you happy, and you need to have a happy system. So this is a rainbow binder system that I've actually set up, and this is from the President Success Kit. So this is a binder system I set up using that kit. I happen to love it because it works really well. And actually in just a couple days, as soon as I get my acting gear, I'm going to be releasing the 6th version of this bad boy. So really excited about that. And this has a preview of one of the editions, but not quite the real thing. So as I was setting this up, this binder, I will say, and this is really key for even though this is, I'm showing you the binder for the president, you really need every officer, every committee chair needs to have a binder, because even though it's much easier, especially nowadays, right, when we don't want to be seeing people in person, it's much easier to just pass along the password to your Google Drive. But if you are new, Google Drive is hella overwhelming. And if it's not organized, you're not gonna be able to find anything. So this is one situation where I definitely recommend having a redundancy of systems. So I want you to have a digital copy as well as a paper copy. And the nice thing is that you can set them up to mirror each other. And that's exactly how I set up my group's Google Drives, because that's what we use for our cloud system, our cloud storage system. And so, yeah, so everything I'm showing you here is pretty much mimicked on our online system. But like I said, every single officer should have a binder so that you have something physical to pass on to the next person, because everybody is a different kind of learner, and how they're taking in information changes. So yeah, you need to have it set up like this. So the best way is to have really nice bright dividers, and that's what we have here. And then we even have the tabs. The tabs are the new part, but I'll tell you, I have made them fillable. This was before I was like setting this up, and I was like, oh my God, I have all this information. It's super thick. Look at this bad boy. This is I think a 3-inch binder. It's a lot of information. And so I was really having trouble finding all the information. So I will tell you, this is how the process went. I put everything in, and I had already laminated the section dividers, and I put them all in, and I was all proud of myself. And then I went, I still have to flip through all this to see what is going on. So I thought, well, that's no good. And I was like, I need tabs. That's what I need. So I'll tell you exactly how I made these, because I wanted them to match, because why not? Because I really love this color palette, I will tell you. So I use it for a lot of things. If you haven't already noticed, it's like the same. It prints out a little bit different than what it looks like on the screen, but these are the same set of colors I use for like all PTO Answers things. So what I did was I made a sheet of labels, and you'll see if you get the new kit, you'll see this, that you can fill these in, but then when you print them out, I actually use packing tape and then a sticker maker for my scrapbook stuff to kind of stick them on there. But that way you can have custom labels. And let me hold this up. I have a new camera system too set up. If you haven't noticed, I have to play with this. I'm not entirely happy with this because I'm like right in front of my face to do this demonstration. Clearly I am no Vanna White, so I hope this is entertaining for you. But anyway, look how pretty it is with all of the colors all lined up. So I just think part of the, in real life, I'm also, in addition to being a PTO volunteer, PTA leader, I'm also a professional organizer. And I will tell you, one of the issues when you're dealing with filing systems or sorting paper or anything like that is you want to reduce how much visual clutter you have. And people go, I'm gonna color code everything. Well, and they might also, and this is getting a little off topic, but I'm gonna bring it round home here in a second. But when you're setting up a filing system, you know how you have the option to go straight back with your file tabs, or you can jog them across diagonally. A lot of people choose to do them diagonally, but then your eyes are physically having to do the work, and then they have to come back to this side, kind of like a typewriter, kind of reset over this way, and then jog over to look to find what you need. When you have like crazy file tabs or divider tabs in here, then that's what you're just causing more work on your eyes, and it's harder to find things. And I don't know about you, but think about the last time you were trying to find something that you really needed to find, and maybe you were in a rush, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just saw this. Where did that go? Like, I know I have this information, but you can't find it. And then, like, this is what always happens to me. My husband will notice that I'm getting frustrated. He'll come in and be like, what are you trying to do? What, can I help you, or what's going on? And I'll be like, I'm trying to find whatever, but I can't find it. And then I'll be like, oh, it's right here, because the time that I took to talk with him for like 2 seconds kind of refocused, like gave me a little bit of space. And so I was able to find it. When you're constantly looking for something and it's all like over the place, like with the different colors, visually that's going to mess with your head. It's going to make it harder to find things. So there's my very long-winded explanation for why you should not arrange your file tabs in a diagonal manner. And it's also why I wanted the ability for all these bad boys to line up rainbow, top to bottom, to kind of match everything. Well, this is upside down, but you know what I mean. So, yeah. So that's why I have this like this, because visually it's going to be easier for you to find things. Got it? All right. Kind of anal, kind of OCD, but I think we're all kind of OCD here, to be really honest with you. So anyway, how you want to set up your binder is with the different sections, and you don't want to make it so where there's only like 2 sheets of paper in there, and you definitely want to make your sections be small so that you can find them. And by small, let's see, I want to see my biggest section here. Well, my to-do section is really thin, I'll tell you that, because there isn't a lot going on this year. But that is going to change real soon. All right, so it looks like my biggest section is for meeting agendas. And I will tell you, I think I have meeting agendas and meeting minutes for the last 8 years. I think that is more than plenty. I can probably move 9 years. I can move these bad boys into someplace else and to that new system I'm going to tell you about in a couple of weeks here. All right. But basically, when you have it organized in this way, and if you get the President Success Kit, all the section dividers are already established for you so that you don't kind of have to wonder how to set it up. You just kind of print everything out and follow it. Makes it really easy. In the updated version I'm going to be releasing, there's even going to be an editable divider page, because I was, again, setting this up and I said, I want a section for this, or I want a section for this, like different committees that you might have that not everybody has, but something that's just unique for you. I wanted the ability for you to have that. So I'm flipping through and seeing, like, we have a scholarships and grant committee in our district, like a district-wide one for that all of the PTA units participate in together. So I wanted to have that information separated out. And what was the other one? Oh, information from Ohio PTA, because that's good to have in its own little section. And I guess those are the areas that you would be tempted normally, or might be tempted to call MISC. But remember, we're not doing that anymore because you're not gonna be able to find anything. So as an officer, you just wanna like break up your binder into the different sections that you're going to be most readily getting the information from. Yes, I can speak now. So the sections I have are to do, and then meeting notes and agendas, and then your contacts. Remember I said at the top of the building, or top of the meeting, that this was, I couldn't find somebody's information, and that was a pain. Wasted way too much time trying to find her information where I should have just written it down in here. And if you want to have a digital directory for all of your members, that's cool, but that, like, you could print it out and have it right here, because sometimes you can't put your fingers like on your computer for the minute, or like your kid is using your phone or whatever. So you want to have like a budget section, and then an event section, which normally would be really rocking, but again, this year not so much. Then I like to have the bylaws and standing rules handy dandy right there. And then I just have like a couple others. I think I just already told you about them. So that's basically how you do it. But I guess I was kind of inspired to do this because it is the beginning of the year, and we do like to organize all the things. But then over break, there was someone in the PTO Superstar Leader group, and her name is escaping me right now. But I was like, what are you guys doing? And she's like, I'm trying to organize all my papers. I have them all spread out over my dining room table. And I was like, yo, girl, do you know about this kit? And she's like, no. So she went and checked it out, and she actually got it. But so it helped her put everything together really quickly. But even if you don't want to invest in this kit, that's cool. But at least you'll have an idea of how to organize your binder yourself so that you can actually find things when you need them. But I will tell you, this project is a great one to do right now when a PTO life is pretty slow. Like, and I don't think I have another live planned about this one, so I'll just go off topic about this a little bit. But this year, this school year, kind of really sucks. Kind of sucks for us, parents, PTO leaders. Also really sucks for our kids. And so I kind of feel like, I don't know, this year is just really, really sucked. But next year, I think is going to be really good. And so I'm mentally shifting away, kind of like out of this year and more looking at next year. So I am trying to think about what I can do right now to set myself up so I will be prepared for next year. And so this project was actually like perfect because we're going to go back to in-person meetings next year. I'm pretty sure, fingers crossed, that there's wide distribution and adoption of the vaccines so that we can meet in person. And I was like, I am not dragging that. I think it was a 4-inch binder, and it was, I think, kind of, where it gets kind of moldy, brown, black, like on edges where you don't know if it's mildew. Anyway, it was not in great shape when it was given to me. And so I replaced that guy with this nice, bright, shiny version. And I'm going to be really excited to take it to my meetings. And I think my fellow officers might have a little binder envy, but I shall set them up with their own kits. So... All right, guys, so, and I should also say, I do have a new lighting system, which requires me for today, until I get it all set up, to take my glasses off so I can see people are leaving comments. I can't read them or see who it is. So I'll catch you back when we get off this when I get off this video, and I'll respond them. But know that I really appreciate you tuning in for this topic and putting up with my goofiness. My mom always goes, "You're a little quirky today." Sometimes sometimes she thinks my quirk is a little too much, but y'all keep sticking around, so you must enjoy my quirks, right? So, all right, that is about it for this week. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope it inspires you to get your papers out of the bag, the tote bag that they were probably given to you in, and get them into a shape that you can use, like actually use the information, okay? So I will talk to you again next week. Until then, be good, stay safe, and I'll see ya. Bye-bye.